Hello, welcome to Lil's Vintage World and welcome to my March 2020 reading wrap-up. These are all the books that I have read in the month of March which haven't featured or not about to feature in their own or kind of combined book reviews. So, you know, I do like classic crime book reviews, history book reviews, or I do some standalone book reviews every now and then. These are the books that haven't featured or won't feature in those. So these are kind of the remainder, but still amazing, amazing books. Right, I will do my best to leave links for all of them in the description bar below, but let's get going because I do have quite a few. So starting off, I have Michael Bond's Paddington, my book of Marmalade. Isn't this book sweet? I picked this up at a charity shop and I liked it for the cover, essentially, and I thought, oh, it's a book on Paddington and it could go on my Paddington shelf, which is here, which I suppose you never see because it's always behind my head, but it is there. And I thought it could go on that shelf. It'll be very, very nice. But of course I had to read it first. So this is a non-fiction book really of Paddington taking us through the history of Marmalade, but with beautiful illustrations in too. Now, I liked this book. However, I don't really like Marmalade. I mean, it's okay, but I'm a jam person, to be honest. I'm a raspberry or strawberry jam person. So Marmalade for me is not really something I'm interested in learning about, to be honest. So I liked it, didn't love it. But if you have someone in your life that likes both Paddington and Marmalade, I think this would make a lovely gift. So this was my first one that I read and it's very sweet. But yeah, great gift idea for someone. Then I read a modern classic and I read The Dud Avocado by Elaine Dundy. This is a modern classic from the 1950s and it is about a young woman called Sally who is an American, and she's like, oh, I wish I had lots of money so I could go and travel and just explore and bleh. And her uncle's like, okay, here you go, have some money. And she goes off to Paris and she explores like herself and her being. She wants to be an actress and she explores like her sexuality and stuff. And yeah, I got about 2-3 chapters in before I realised that I hated it. I mean, the writing is okay. I hated all the characters. I just thought it was vile. You know when you get a book and you're just like, I just hate everyone. Literally hate. I know hate's a very strong word, but you know, I dislike all characters in this book. And the writing wasn't like good enough to save it at all. So I gave it 1 star. Yeah, I just didn't like it. Sad to say, because I know some people do really enjoy this book and it's a well-known modern classic, but sadly it was not one for me. So then I thought I'd read a proper classic and I picked up Villette by Charlotte Bronte. Previously by Charlotte Bronte I have read Jane Eyre. I've also read Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte and I've read The Tenant of Wildflower Hall by Anne Bronte. So I thought it was time that I'd go back to Charlotte again and pick up Villette. So Villette is about a young woman called Lucy who at the beginning of the book she lives with her godmother and then she ends up becoming a companion to an older lady, and then she ends up eventually in a place called Villette learning how to speak French, and she ends up becoming a school teacher. But while she's there she falls in love with a man called Dr. John, but sadly Dr. John is not in love with her and it's kind of about unrequited love. Now, this book, as a lot of books at this time, was in volumes, which, to be honest, I'd quite like them to bring back for big books. I think it'd be nice to read books in volumes again. And the first volume of this was absolutely amazing. It was just incredible. I was like, that is 5-star, amazing. It was just incredible, incredible book. That part was just wow. And then the rest of it I felt was just a bit, okay. It lacked something for me. I don't know if there was a gap in her writing like from the first volume into the next ones, but it just, there's something about the rest of it that just kind of lacked for me and I didn't love it as much. And I don't know what it was. I don't know if anybody else has felt like this when they've read Villette. But in the end I gave it 3 stars because I liked it. I mean the first part was 5-star, but the rest for me was a bit meh, sad to say. I am not giving up with Charlotte Bronte. I still have a couple of hers to go. But I would like to hopefully love either Shirley or the Professor. I know a lot of people do love Shirley though, so I've got high hopes for that. But maybe that's my problem. Maybe I'm putting too much high hopes on things. But anyway, let me know if you felt the same as I did about Villette. First volume though, absolutely incredible. Anyway, then the rest of the books that I have to show are rereads. So, although we are in lockdown, I have a garden and we had lovely, lovely weather. And actually we do still currently have very nice weather as I look currently outside that way. And I thought, do you know what? As soon as the nice weather hit me, I was like, right, I need to reread this book. And that is Rosemary and Thyme and No Birds Sing by Brian Eastman. This is the first book that accompanies Series 1, Episode 1 of the TV show of the same name. I've done a full review, which I'll leave for you up here. And I love the TV show. I read this book for the first time summer 2019, I believe. And I remember reading it. And I read it in a couple of places. I read it in my conservatory with Pup on my lap, or I read it in the garden with Pup running round. And I just remember reading the book and associating the book with that happy kind of summertime. And so I did the same again. So I had little Pup. He was either sat on my lap or if we were reading it in the garden. It was just wonderful. I really attached my reading experience of this to the lovely, lovely weather. So it was very, very nice to reread it. And just 5 stars. I just love it. I think it's amazing. So yeah, very happy. And then I reread my favourite comic book series, which is Giant Days, which I talk about so much. I'm sorry if you get sick of me talking about Giant Days, but I just love it. So the new volume of Giant Days, I thought it was coming out in March. It's not, it's coming out at end of April. I got that wrong. Don't know how I got that wrong really, but I did. So to prepare myself, I'm slowly rereading all of them. So I reread volume 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 of Giant Days, and I love them so much. It was lovely to return to the story again because I just love the story. I think it's so funny and wonderful and warm and witty and charming. And if you've never read it or you've never heard me harp on about it, it's about 3 girls and their time at university. They're called Daisy, Esther and Susan, but we also have their friends slash boyfriends, Ed, Gimmel and McGraw, and it's just funny. It's very British in humour, and yeah, it's just a wonderful book, especially to read kind of now when I'm feeling a bit sad about everything. And I'm sure you've had it. You've had your up days and you've had your down days being in lockdown, and these really help when my mood's down a little bit. I can't help but read it and you know, it makes me smile. So yeah, they're brilliant, brilliant books. So that is it. That's all of them that I have to share with you. The rest of them will be in individual wrap-ups or reviews or whatever, but these are the rest. So that is it. If you enjoyed this video, please give a big thumbs up for me, and in the comments section chat to me all things bookish, and I shall see you soon for the next video. Bye for now.